Judah showing other colleagues about missing mammals and telling about the case, but it is something bigger. Judah went to show Bogo and colleagues about munchers. Savage, Bogo didn't believe it, but as Judah went to show it to everyone, we can't see anything, and a jaguar is missing. And Judah is surprised over here. Judah be on the spot, but Jaguar is not there. Judah is totally surprised what happened and did not have any clue. Bogo is telling Judah a difference between a anger and a savage. Bogo decides to leave. Judah slides over here and Judah signals Nick to tell what happens. But Bogo did not believe a fox as a fox behavior and stereotype of fox species. Bogo asked for Judah's badge. Focus shift to Nick. Nick is in the frame. Something hit Nick. Nick look at Bogo. Bogo scold Judah. Judah is getting sad and reach toward her batch. Judah look at the other side. Bogo turns towards Nick and ask him a question. Nick step forward and confidently says no. Bogo's reaction over here explains Bogo and takes a side of Judah. See the clay version in an animation. And Judah is left with a 48 hours challenge. Judah can't say a word and walk with Nick. This is a scene where Deuteragonist choose a side and we get a backstory. Judah breathes out. Nick gives a suggestion to Judah. Judah asks a question and Nick telling her story why he stand for. First Judah think it is a joke, but Nick tells his story. Dissolve for Nick getting lost in his story. I was searching how they just managed to make up very perfect flashback stories, and I have found that they treat every shot as a short film and compile them into a final film. So much things they can show in a frames, plus good sense of color schemes and light affecting moods. Nick is getting ready for joining the junior squad team. Mother and a little Nick moment over here. Junior Nick approaching towards to a part of a troop. He is happy and running, but the problem was stereotype that they crushed Junior Nick dream. Nick is being confident and ready for initiation. Nick is taking a oath in front of a pack, but animals bully Nick of being a predator and teases him and put a dog mask on Nick so that he cannot bite. Nick runs and escapes the situation as had been held with Judah with Gideon Grey. And Nick tries to remove the mask and start crying. This things put an impact on Nick, so he was trying to be untrustworthy and letting the world see the fox as untrustworthy. Okay, I want to share one movie which influenced Disney and Pixar artists for creating this scene. A movie named Eye of the Storm. Let us have the glance of a film and understand the stereotype and what impact it does on the brain and the psychology of humans.
The morning after Martin Luther King was killed, a child came into the room and said, they shot a king last night, why did they shoot a king? I think children have to be told that this is wrong, and telling them they can turn you off. I wanted them to be involved in finding out what happened. I wanted them to know at least a little bit about how it feels to be stepped upon.
We saw this documentary where a teacher had a group of kids, and she was talking about bias. Blue-eyed kids, she said, okay, you guys are gonna wear collars. I'm going to put these tiny little collars on you. And she gave them a bunch of rules where just very quickly it was very clear it wasn't fair between these two groups. You know, an hour into this, they took a test. Just in that small amount of time, I think maybe it was the end of the day, in that small amount of time, the kids wearing the collars who were told they were lesser than, even though literally the teacher just made it up in front of them and told them this is just a game we're playing, the kids who had to wear the collars who were told they were lesser than didn't do as well on those tests immediately. Significantly worse. And the next day the teacher said, okay, you know what, I made a mistake. It was actually the other way around. And the kids who had the collars on the day before were obviously very happy to have those off, and the kids who had to wear the collars, who had experienced the same thing the day before, had to now, they now didn't get to go out to the playground, and they didn't get the same snacks, and they couldn't do the same water breaks. And this movie where predators have been told, oh, you have to wear this collar, but it's really for you guys, and how that would make them feel was really impactful to us. At the end of this documentary, the teacher said, okay, we're gonna take these little collars off. And one of the kids, you can see in the documentary, rips this collar off and just starts trying to break it after he has it off. Like, it's very clear that something really deeply affected him in one day. And for us, you're just watching this thing going, this is just pretend. These are little kids and this is just a pretend day of bias for them. how does that affect the entire world who's dealing with bias, where it's every day and a teacher can't say, okay, the game's over?
Okay, those who want to get in more detail and understand the feeling of that child, you can watch the movie. I have linked in the description down below. So now we are in the present. Nick is sad over here. Buddha empathize Nick. Nick lightened his mood and trying to put himself in a happy mood. And the idea strike to Nick and get an idea of searching traffic camera where they can find a Jaguar. Judah does not have a access but have a friend at City Hall.